All right, good evening. It's 5:15, time to start our meeting. Let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. All right, the roll call will show that we have two missing today, Jason and Laverne. I have a little bit of a comment about Laverne. He was, because I know why he's gone, he had surgery on his foot, which is kind of radical surgery, as a matter of fact. Stems from a childhood injury, and he's basically replacing his ankle, which will be quite extensive. And knowing Laverne, he had this scheduled for the 23rd of September. And he also received quite an award recently, and that's what I want to talk about tonight regarding Laverne. He's now on the executive board of directors for the Iowa League of Cities, and that's quite a prestigious award that he has earned by much of his works involving the Iowa League of Cities. There's only two city council members that were appointed to that this year, and there's 4,500, I believe, city council members in the state. So it's quite prestigious for him, and it's an honor that I want to remind us that he's earned. And I'd like to give him. I know the first thing he does when he's feeling better is looking at this meeting. So let's give him a round of applause. So the first thing he sees is that we think much of him. All right, thank you, Laverne. We'll move on to the consent agenda, which includes approval of minutes of the September 8th meeting, approval of bills and claims, and licenses and permits, which include the renewal of Class B retail alcohol license for Carroll Can Redemption and renewal of Class B retail alcohol license for Hy-Vee Fast and Fresh. Are there any questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Tom, JJ seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Seaman?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Schreck?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
All right, are there any oral requests from the anyone in the audience that would be related to anything not on the agenda this evening? All right, seeing nothing there, we'll move on to ordinances. And the first ordinance is Carroll City Ordinance Chapter 69.08 Amendment, Anthony Street, parking between East and Maple Street, second reading. And Brad.
Thank you, Mayor. This is, of course, the second reading for this. We discussed it at the last council meeting. Since that time, I've had no feedback from anyone either for or against it. Just to recap, though, this is the parking along the north side of St. Anthony Hospital, and they're requesting this change due to some changes to their campus that'll be occurring soon, and long-term changes that'll want the parking out of this area. Eric is again, Siamonson's here again tonight if you guys have any questions. But a recommendation, we don't have enough councils to waive the third, so my recommendation is to have the second hearing of this.
Approve the second reading.
Correct.
Right.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion. Motion by Tom, second by JJ. Roll call vote, please.
Bauer?
Yes.
Cordero?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Schreck? Yes. Motion is approved.
Very good. All right, moving on to resolutions, roof replacement project, certificate of substantial completion. And Randy.
Thank you, Mayor. The contractor, Rigid Edge Exteriors, has completed the roof replacement projects. Their date of substantial completion was August 30th of '25. Contracted date for substantial completion was September 1st. The total project cost ended up being the original contract price plus $10,500 plus in a bid option of replacing the sheeting, and then the change order number 1 that was previously approved by the council for a total price of $676,587.46. Unless there are any questions, I'd recommend your consideration of accepting the certificate of substantial completion for the roof replacements.
Randy, we can submit the overage to our insurance company and get as much as we can back from them for the above and beyond that quote, correct?
Yes, we'll be submitting both the bid option for the sheeting and the change order numbers for insurance company review.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, is there a motion to approve? Tom,
Second.
second by Kyle. Roll call vote, please.
Shrek?
Yes.
Rondero?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Resolution approved.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move on to the second resolution, which is water system pressure treatment zone improvements. And Randy.
Thank you, Mayor. The plans specific,
Can we have open a public hearing real quick, please?
Oh, I'm sorry, okay. We will open a public hearing for this at 5:22.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Randy, go ahead.
okay. The plans, specifications, form a contract, and estimate of cost for the water system pressure project have been filed by the consultant, JEO Consulting Group. The plans detail the construction of water system pressure improvements in the northwest part of the city. They're actually divided into three groups, A being the distribution system improvements, and those are kind of illustrated on a high level on your attachment titled Project Overview. There's several places within the zone that required improvements to the distribution system piping for the project. So that's the distribution portion. Group B is the booster pump station, and Group C is the water tower. The specifications are SUDAS specifications, supplementals, special provisions, and then project-specific specifications detailing the booster station and the tower construction. The contract documents are set up for the award of 3 contracts, one each for Group A, Group B, and Group C. So once bids are received, it'll be bid as 3 groups and awarded as 3 groups. The form of contract is the SUDAS standard form that we've used in the past. The estimated construction cost is $4,915,500. With that estimate for construction, total project cost is now at $5,734,000. And the funding, of course, is a combination of water utility funding, sewer utility funding, and a bond currently estimated in the amount of $3,013,000. Project schedule includes receipt of bids on November 13th, and then your consideration of award will be presented on November 24th. Construction completion for Group A is scheduled for the end of 2026, and Group B and C the end of 2027. Unless there are any questions, I'd recommend your consideration of adoption of the plans, specification, form of contract, and estimated cost for the water system pressure zone improvements.
Randy, I have a quick question, and it's probably dumb, but I need to understand this. I get why you're doing the 3 separate bids, that they're, all unique. Would it be unusual to have maybe separate bidders, and so you would have different people working on the different phases of the project by different contractors? Would that be anticipated by you, or do you anticipate that the same contractor would get all three groups?
I think it would be more likely that there would be multiple contractors.
Okay,
For example, in construction of water towers, there's only a few in this region that build water towers. So likely one of those few would be the successful bidder on Group C.
okay,
There are probably more contractors that do distribution work, piping, underground piping work. So hopefully we'll get, good competitive bids on that. And then the booster station work, there are some underground contractors that do build pump stations. They're relatively few, but there are a few. And then, of course, there are other contractors that build buildings and mechanical equipment and pump stations exclusively.
Okay.
So likely there'll be more than one contractor.
Okay. And with Group B and C, looking at your construction completion, if you had two separate contractors, then you'd be watching over them to make sure they coordinated to get both B and C on time.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? I have one question, Randy. It's just been, a few people have brought up a concern about the extra pressure that this would bring on to that area. I mean, do you have an idea how much more this would be, or is there any risk to plumbing in that exists already, or?
The design will be about 15 additional pounds of pressure. That's different than current. It's more. And our concern also is that there could be some weak plumbing that additional 15 pounds could impact, could create a leak. Actually, that could happen in the main lines too. The city's mains have been, for 75 years, have been operating under the current pressures. They'll be increased by this 15 pounds or so. So there could be weak spots in those, as well as weak spots in private plumbing, in-house or service line plumbing. Unknown, there's no way to determine if that's going to happen or where or when, but it's something to really be aware of, that it can happen.
Okay. Would it be any different than the increases in pressure when we release water from the current water tower at one time? I mean, would it exceed what it is now?
Yeah.
In older homes?
Yes, yeah, it'll
it
be
would.
that increase in 15 pounds plus
Okay.
in the entire zone that's designated.
Anybody else have any questions about this, or?
That information was all provided when you had your public meeting, right, with the residents?
To anyone that was there, yes. Mhm.
Any other questions? No, if not, I would,
Mark's got one.
Just real-
sorry, okay,
Real quick, just before I came, Mark Beardmore, 2625 4th Street.
thank you.
Just real quick, I just had just a second before I got here, didn't delve into it time I should have, but I looked at our current local option sales tax reserves, and despite its many expenditures out of it, it still looks modestly healthy. And I just wonder if there's been any consideration with the council to perhaps expend some of those reserves and thus lower the bonding requirement. As you move forward, knowing that the council has historically liked to keep the debt service levy rather level, that's admirable. Remember, we're going to be looking at about 23% increase on assessed values next year. And so I would urge the council as they move forward to consider reducing that debt service levy. And this would be a good step in order to be able to do that. So we just ask for the council's consideration to use the local option sales
This
tax.
bond wouldn't be paid through debt service, it'd be paid through the water revenue, so that wouldn't work.
Which is great. That's
So,
even,
just
that's
FYI.
actually even better, but we could, again, it accomplish the same thing, Aaron, by reducing the debt requirement. They just look still rather healthy, so I would just urge the council's consideration to do so.
All right,
Thank you.
thank you. Any other comment from the public at all? Let's go ahead and close the public hearing. It's 5:31. And I'd look for a vote to approve the water pressure zone improvements as presented. So moved. By Tom. Is there a second?
Second.
by Kyle. Roll call vote, please.
Bauer,
Yes.
Bornero,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Shrek.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll go on to reports. And the first one is on the digester and VLR air piping improvements, change order number 1. And Randy.
Thank you, Mayor. During design of the digester and VLR project, it was determined that a cause of an existing leak in the north digester number 2 could not be defined enough, to specify it for repair during the contract without draining the digester and cleaning it. And since draining and cleaning the digester was part of the construction requirement, it was decided to wait until that was completed by the contractor, review the leak, and determine the best course of action for repair of the leak. That's been done now, and the recommendation for repair of the leak is by resin injection and then the application of a high-performance patch over the little leak in the digester. In addition to that, to remove or to convert the digesters from anaerobic to aerobic, there was some mechanical equipment had to be removed from the digesters. And that entailed cutting the walls in 4 locations to remove those wall penetrations. The recommendation, well, I'll step back. Since patching the wall would not accommodate a water stop to help make certain the patch didn't leak, it's also recommended to use this same high-performance patch on those joints that are created from those wall penetrations. So we have a proposed cost of the 2 at $18,117.75. That's been included in the proposed change order, which would bring the total contract to $3,015,117.75. No change in contract time as a result of this proposed change order. So unless there are any questions, I'd recommend your consideration of approval of the change order for the digester and VLR in the amount of $18,117.75.
When well, you said little leak, I'm just curious, what are we talking about? What does that mean?
It was, during the operation of the past several years of that digester, there was a leak in it. It was actually, sludge was weeping out of it, the leak, so it was quite small. There'd be a little bit on the floor is about it. So it wasn't a huge leak, but as far as timing, this is the time to fix it. Digester's empty and clean, and so that's why we presented this opportunity.
And then the patch, is that your recommendation, or did you check with some expert with this, or this is just what you know to be the right thing?
Patching the cuts
The
through the wall.
high-performance patch you mentioned.
Yeah.
Is this something that you know about yourself? Is that right, or?
That actually our consultant had experience with that high-performance patch. And it wasn't originally specified for those wall penetrations that were cut out. These wall penetration cuts, they're about 30 by 30 inches. And there's 2 in each digester. So they're large. And they'll be certainly poured back with concrete and reinforced. But as a stopgap assistance, since we can't get a water stop in the concrete, we decided to recommend that high-performance patch be used around those square openings also.
Okay, thank you. If you have any left over, can you fix my sink in my bathroom? It leaks a little bit.
It probably would. You wouldn't like the looks of it.
No, I imagine not. All right, any other questions from anyone? No? I'd look for a motion to approve the change order in the amount of $18,117.75. Is there a motion? by Tom,
Second.
and Kyle seconded. Roll call vote, please.
Bornero?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Strack?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Very good, thank you. And next one is to set a public hearing for fiscal year 2025-26 budget amendment number 1. And Laura.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the time of the year that I typically do a budget amendment or ask council to walk through the steps for a budget amendment. And this really, all these items here are items that were included in our last year's budget fiscal 25, but were not completed as of June 30. Some of the items had been budgeted and we hadn't started the work and would want to consider putting them in this next year's budget so we can do the work, or we are currently under contract for some of the items. I won't go through each one of them, but if you do have anything in particular you wanted to know more about, I would sure be happy to answer those questions. Otherwise, tonight is just setting the public hearing date on this budget amendment for our next council meeting, which is on October 13th, I believe. Yes, October 13th.
Any questions about that? We'll need a motion then to set the public hearing, or I'm sorry, set the public hearing for Monday, October 13th, 2025.
So moved.
By Carolyn, JJ seconded. And roll call vote, please.
Bornero?
Yes.
Bauer?
Yes.
Strack?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
All right, thank you. Committee reports are, of course, available for everyone. I've already made my comments for this evening. Are there any comments from the city council this evening? And how about from the city manager?
Yes, Laura and I and Laverne were at the Iowa League of Cities conference this past week. It was a good conference. Learned a few things that we can look at implementing. One thing of note, the new appointed council members or elected council members and any appointed new board members will have to take a Iowa Public Information Board class on open meetings laws within the first 90 days of taking office. So we'll have to get something scheduled there, but it looks like both Region 12 and the League of Cities is getting ready to put a class together for that. So we'll be ready for that. There are some interesting things coming through the legislative update as far as sidewalks. There was a change in the Supreme Court, but yet the league is going to push to change that, not necessarily change that ruling, but to make that ruling that sidewalks are just like snow and ice removal, that it's the property owner's responsibility to change those, which is kind of the status quo we've been working under as of this point. They are a little bit happier with where they are with the property tax issue. They felt a little bit better with the House than they are with the Senate, but we'll see where that all comes out in the end too. I have a feeling there's a bill already written, ready to go, but we'll see how it goes.
Aaron, I have a quick question. I read through that when they passed it in June of '24, and do we have to, and this is a question for Dave, I guess, will we have to amend our ordinance, Dave, because of the shift in liability?
Yes.
So okay, so we'll just, okay, thank you.
I think we need to hold off on anything complete changes at this point, just because the way the law is they're gonna push for a law amendment or rewrite the law a little bit.
Are they
So
looking at the liability issue again, or is that going to stand?
if they change it as code, then it'll go back to the
Oh,
homeowner.
so so that is a part of the discussion also?
Yeah.
Is what you're, I didn't, okay, thank you.
Anything else? How about a motion to adjourn? Tom, JJ seconded. Roll call, please.
Bauer?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Strack?
Yes.
Bornero?
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Thank you.